Andrew, how
What's
are you?
up? How you doing, Docs?
Good. Good.
I've been waiting to hear from you. So you've had, is it almost 2 full weeks of only right-wing media?
Yes.
How's it going, man?
They've changed my mind. I'm complete Trump supporter now.
Is Trump the greatest president ever?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Kamala and Tim Walz are weird, actually.
they
This is
they're the weird ones.
they're really pushing this weird narrative now.
So have you seen any mishaps or mistakes by Trump in the last couple of weeks?
So I've been watching his rallies, and those are intolerable.
Okay, so
They're
do
horrible.
you stick around afterward to see like the spin on his rallies about how brilliant it was?
Um, I've heard, yeah, I mean, I not really, but yes, I've heard some of the
Okay.
spin.
So
They
real
pick
quick,
out pieces, like Fox News will pick out a piece and be like, Trump said this and it's so amazing. But like if you just listen to it, like he starts off pretty strong and he
Mhm.
like hits his points and then he just rambles for like
Yeah.
an hour about migrants and Tim Walz and Kamala Harris being horrible people and oh
So
my gosh,
the
it's
one
it's
Well, and the one thing I've kind of learned recently, a lot of Trump voters do not watch his rallies, and I think like purposely they don't watch him. I think they don't want it, like they're afraid that if they watch it, they might question everything. Because like everybody I know that is a hardcore, they're voting for Trump. If I mention his rallies, I don't watch his rallies, and they seem to have no interest in doing it. If you watch him,
yeah,
he said the other day when he was in Detroit talking to an audience of Detroit people, and he was like, "If you elect Kamala Harris, the whole country is going to be just like Detroit, like meaning it'll be awful." And it's like,
yeah,
t there's so many things he says on stage that if anybody else said it, it would be a big deal. But like he says it, and we all kind of look around like, isn't that going to cost him Michigan? But like, no, like probably not. Like it,
yeah.
yeah, his people, he has a wide leeway for what he's allowed to do.
It's yeah, it's very strange. What did he say today? He said that migrant he's
I think
going
I know what you're
to
gonna.
the
Hold on,
death penalty for migrants who kill cops.
so he brought. I don't know if you saw this, but he brought up the aliens. It's called the Aliens Enemy Act of 1798. Have you seen him talking
Oh
about this at
yeah.
all?
Yeah, because I wanted to hit on that too, because
Yeah.
the way he says is like 1770, he's reading off the teleprompter, I'm
hmm
thinking, and he's like the act of 1776 or whatever. And he's like,
1798.
wow, that was a long time ago. Like, did you guys know that was a really long time ago? Like, he speaks like a third grader, and I'm
Dude,
wondering if he's like actually, if he does that to for his base because he thinks they're stupid, or if he's actually
so
um that dumb.
so it actually
Because
I saw a deal the other day that he speaks at a fourth grade level and
okay,
DeSantis speaks at an eighth grade level. And that's why like the Republican base didn't like him, is he sounded a little too educated, like they weren't down with it. But yeah,
I was
Trump.
close. In my notes, I have third grade level,
Yeah,
so
he officially, I guess people that study this say he speaks at a fourth grade level. Real quick, and you said you were going to bring this up at the Aliens and Enemy Act of 1798. It's like one of the worst laws we have on the. I can't believe it's still something we have on the books, but it's what we used during World War II to intern all these Japanese Americans. Like they were American citizens that have Japanese descent, and we were
oh
just like,
yeah.
nope, sorry, you guys are all going into camps, and that's the law we used. So this law basically would allow him to go round up Mexicans or Muslims or what anybody that doesn't look white, even if they're an American citizen, he can still arrest and detain them in camps according to this act. I
Hmm.
can't believe that's still on the books, but it is, and he has been very clear that he's going to use that. So doesn't
Oh,
matter if you came here legally, like he's gonna clean up the non-whites is pretty much what he's. That's what I'm hearing. Somebody could try to spin it and act like he's not saying that, but that's what I'm hearing is if you don't look American, he's coming for you. That's what
okay.
I'm reading. So
Who's that really popular white nationalist guy? He's like kind of the head of the KKK. What's that
Richard
guy's name?
Richard Spencer is one. Nick Fuentes is another.
Fuentes.
Nick Fuentes
Fuentes.
is it. I love to watch his clips. I see him on Twitter all the time. He was actually going to go to war with Trump like a month ago. Like he was mad because he thought Trump was being too soft on, or no, he was supporting Israel or something. He was helping the Jews or something. And then
Yeah.
just in the last day or two, Nick Fuentes like called that off and basically said he's not going to do that.
No, I think he called him back out today. He said he was
Oh,
gonna
I missed that then.
because of Stephen Miller being in his administration. Was
I
it
missed
Stephen
that.
Miller?
I think
Okay.
Stephen Miller is Jewish. I'm not positive on
Yeah,
that.
I think so. Yeah. So he's going to war with Trump and he's telling people not to vote at all.
what's sad is we're at a point where like the margins matter a lot. So like that moron, I don't know how many people actually listen to him, but like any little thing like that can affect the race. But I almost like I don't want to win because like the Nazis are upset that Trump isn't Nazi enough. Like that's I'll take
Well,
whatever I can get, but yeah, that's a little weird.
I don't want the Nazis to vote. Like, I don't think
Yeah,
they should have a vote anyway. So,
it's bad. Anything else on your 2 weeks of what
oh,
did
so
real
I have
quick,
been getting
what was your media sources real quick? You watch the rallies. I'm guessing you still listen to your local right-wing radio.
yep, listen to the right wing radio,
What'd you
the
watch on like YouTube?
rallies, Fox News, Ben Shapiro,
Okay.
Dave Rubin, Tim Cast,
Tim Pool, okay.
yeah, all that.
Nice.
Oh gosh, I mean, like for real, like if you just listen to that, you could really think that Trump is amazing and that Harris is going to put the country in the toilet and
Dude,
flush it.
I've been telling you that for like 6 years now. Like, with like the people, you would always be like, I don't get how people could really think that Trump's great or whatever. And I was trying to tell you forever, like, if you're in that bubble, if you only hear right-wing media, like those people can't believe that there are people that don't like Trump. Like, you'd have to be a fool not to like
Right.
Trump. And it's they don't know any better. And I'm not I was about to say they don't know any better, and that like I don't mean it that way, but like if that's all you're intaking is right wing media and you don't trust any left wing media, like it'd be real easy to talk yourself into a place where Trump is the greatest president and he loves this country. And real
Yeah.
real quick, I don't want to forget this, but it came out. I can't remember how they found out, but Trump's Bibles, you know those Bibles he was selling
Okay.
with the Constitution, and all that. So get
Yeah, totally.
guess where those
Finance
were
for
made?
state. What's Oh, the China. Greatest
Invention
Of all
Yeah.
time? New hands-free skip. Sorry. Yeah.
So those were made in China because of, America first, obviously. Do you know how much each of
Yeah.
those Bibles cost to produce?
Was it $3 or something?
$3, and he sells them for 59.99. So
And the thing is like, how can you support the Bible, God, Jesus, the Bible, be a Christian, and then buy a Bible that actually has Trump's name on it?
and the Constitution, and there's a whole thing with like the I will have people disagree with me on this, but like of all the different threats, like the domestic threats in America, like the Christian nationalists are the ones that scare me the most. Like that, I'm not a fan of that. And I have no problem with religion and I have no problem with people practicing whatever religion they want to. But this whole trying to take over and like America is a Christian nation and we need to, more tightly weave our laws with the Bible, like that scares the hell out of me. Like I don't like that at all.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And I want to play you this clip real
Okay.
quick. Um, Hold on. Because so since I started, my algorithm has totally changed over the last 2 weeks, and I'm just getting like these random people, and I'm like, okay, who's this? And so I actually just watched most of this video, and I kind of want to go to war with this guy.
Okay, let me hear a bit of it.
Okay, hold on. I think you're gonna really.
Who I want to see if I can hold on, wait.
His name is Caden Potty.
I don't know him. I was gonna say I might
Okay,
know this guy.
so he has a ministry, and he's super right wing, and he's going over, and I think you're just did you accept my
Yeah, I did. I
okay.
can't see your screen yet though.
Oh, oh, it's got to be. You can't see it. Hmm.
Nope.
Usually it asks me. Let me ask you again here. Um, where was I going? So he's talking about Elon Musk. Here it is.
All right, I see it.
Talking about what Elon Musk just said, and I think you're immediately. I was like, what is wrong with this guy?
33 minutes ago, this was just posted about what Elon Musk said concerning the upcoming election and Donald Trump. And this is something crazy that Kamala Harris tried to keep hidden and undercover. But as we know, sin always gets found out and the lies are being revealed. So I want you to get ready because this is very first coverage. This is going to go viral and I can just expect you to have a jaw-dropped face when you hear these lies being uncovered. So let's get straight into this today.
Okay.
What are the lies?
Okay. Here we go. We're gonna keep going.
Before we get into that, want to show you this because this is amusing.
Where is he? Come on up here, Elon.
Oh, Elon jumping up and down.
Your American
Watch him jump.
company in generations, and his rocket company is the only reason we can now send American astronauts into space.
Hold on.
Did you see
Pause
that
that.
jump? That was a horrible jump.
Real quick, Elon has a 4-inch vertical. If you look at that, his feet got roughly 4 inches off the floor. So I don't have a vertical, but that was embarrassing.
I could jump way higher than that.
Yeah, you could. I'm probably about where he
We
is.
can now send
There it is.
American astronauts into space.
Dude, there's a
Take over,
picture.
Elon. Yes, take over.
He calls him Elania. So obviously you see that there's a friendship between Elon Musk and Donald J. Trump. But he just said something, stating something absolutely wild. And I want you to watch this right now. Then I'm going to show you some even more crazy things. Listen to this.
If Trump doesn't win this election, it's the last election we're going to have. The Democrats, the Dem machine, has
Just to show you I'm not lying to you, 35 minutes ago.
been importing so many people, bringing in so many illegals, flying in with this like CBP border app thing nobody even knew about, like secret program. That's illegal, basically. It's illegal, but there's no action by the DOJ to actually to stop it from happening. They're transporting large numbers of illegals to swing states. If you look at the numbers, these are the numbers from the government website. There are triple-digit increases in illegals to all the swing states, and in some cases, it's like 700% over the last 3 years. Now, these swing state margins are, sometimes 10, 20,000 votes. So what happens if you put hundreds of thousands of people into each swing state? And when they do so, they vote overwhelmingly Democrat. So my prediction is if there's another 4 years of a Dem administration, they will legalize so many illegals that are there that the next election, there won't be any swing states.
So,
And then look at Tucker Carlson's face.
So
all right. Okay, go ahead and get rid of this guy. So what he's talking about, I'm sure you've heard the great replacement theory. Tucker Carlson's the one that kind of was preaching it for years, and now it's really taken hold. Are you familiar with that?
a little bit, yeah.
So, and they've been talking about this since Obama. It's been the thing. Now, the thing that keeps killing me here is it's called TPS, temporary protective status. It's been around since the late 80s. Every president has used it. Normally it's used when there's a natural disaster somewhere, like in Haiti. When there was an earthquake in Haiti, we let a lot of them come here under TPS. It's not illegal. It's not secret. Everybody's acting like they snuck all these illegal aliens in here and like it's illegal, but there's no punishment for it. Like, no, this is on the books. Republican presidents have used it as well as Democrats. The whole great replacement theory thing for a long time was real fringe and like not many people bought it. And if you could easily be like, ooh, you're a racist. I'm telling you, there is a vast majority of Republicans who are 100% on board with this right now, that the Democrats are trying to bring in illegal aliens to basically boost their numbers. It's not every, I'm going to say 80% of Republican voters believe that shit now. So yeah, it's a deal. The level, real quick, the level of misinformation, and I can't go through it all, but did you get to see any of the stuff going on with the hurricane and FEMA and the $750? Have you seen?
Oh yeah, totally, yeah. So I mean, they've been hitting it hard. The right wing's been hitting that hard. They also hit like 34,000 migrant murders are in our country.
So, and that's since 1990. And as soon as Trump said those numbers, Department of Homeland Security came out and said, yeah, that's over the last 4 decades. The thing is, all of the stuff that they say gets debunked right away. Like the most recent one, Kamala did a town hall for Univision, which is like the Spanish channel. And there's there was on the video, it like swings around behind Kamala and you can see there's a teleprompter up front. And immediately they're like, look, they gave her the questions in advance and her answers were on a teleprompter, blah, blah. And the station came out immediately and said, no, that was the person doing the town hall, the reporter there, that was their opening monologue on there. And then after that, it was just a timer. Like it was counting down how much time per question or whatever. And they came out and explained that all right off the bat. But still, hours later, the typical Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, Dave Rubin, Newsmax, like we're all still, oh, look, we have proof.
They said something about her covering her mouth and she was talking into an earpiece during like one of the hurricane.
I didn't see that. They still keep trying to say that her earrings are like secret like transmitters, so people are feeding her the answers. But like, yeah, no, the whole $750 thing, like as soon as they came out with that one, FEMA, the president, everybody was coming out and saying no, and it makes so much sense. That is like, here, we're gonna get cash in your hand so you don't starve over the next couple of days while we get people in there, let you process your application for funding and all that. So here's some quick cash just so you don't starve or die, or so you can get a hotel room. And like still to this day, Trump is talking about 750. Oh, that's all they're going to give you. They have all this money for illegal immigrants. And also, real quick, I could go on about this for a while, but the whole, they stole $1 billion from FEMA money to give to migrants. No,
Oh, yeah.
Congress. Have you ever heard that blank controls the purse strings? Can you fill in the blank? Blank controls the purse strings. Have you ever heard of that?
Um,
I was hoping you knew this. So
no, I
Congress,
can't.
the whole saying,
Okay. That's where I
Congress,
was going. Yeah.
yeah,
I was like, oh,
Congress controls the purse strings. They're the ones
yeah.
that put together the budget. They set up different buckets. This money can only be spent for this. This money can only be spent for that. And they put a certain amount of money under DHS, which FEMA is also under, for migrant housing, totally separate than the money for disaster relief. And you know who is in charge of Congress right now that put forward that budget? Mike Johnson and the Republicans.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that to me, that's like the most damning one. It's just like, look, they stole $1 billion. No, the Republican Congress allocated $1 billion for migrant housing, and
Yeah.
the rest of the money is for hurricanes. And every year we get too many hurricanes because climate change is happening, whether you want to believe it's humans are causing it or it's just happening. One way or another, it's happening.
Yep.
Hurricanes are getting worse and whatnot. So every year for the past decade, they have to go in and do an emergency session with Congress and ask for more funding to take care of the different hurricanes. So
Totally.
this most recent one, not Milton, but the one before that, caused damage in like Western North Carolina and places they weren't expecting. It is a huge a huge amount of money. They're going to have to request more funding. And
For sure.
it's been amazing to me the people that I see that like I know well that are totally buying into this, and they're like, "Can you believe FEMA's only giving them $750?" And it's like, I want to jump in the comments and point out that hey, not correct. But it's again, nobody. I think a lot of them already know it's not true, but they're just gonna keep spouting it.
So what about Marjorie Taylor Greene and her
Dude,
her theory about them controlling the weather and making these hurricanes so that they can't vote?
do you remember a couple weeks ago when I told you that Marge was really making an effort to like be more towards the
You
center and
did.
to not be crazy?
You
So what
did.
happened is she realized she's losing stardom. Like people like Laura Loomer are becoming the stars of the right, and she's not anymore because she's not spouting the crazy shit. So I think she realized she needed to get back to her old ways. It's the only way she's going to stay in the headlines. So yeah, she's been hardcore. They're controlling the weather, which it kills me. You know what cloud seeding is?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, cloud seeding is something they've been messing with for 40 years now. Apparently, in like Abu Dhabi and places like that over in the Middle East, they've gotten really good at it. They can make
Oh, yeah.
rain happen. So
Yeah,
yeah,
they're in the desert. They need rain.
they can do cloud seeding. That's about it. They can't create a hurricane and then steer it to hit only Republican areas. But
But what if you seed the clouds like with a shit ton of seed? Then maybe you can create a hurricane.
I don't think that's how it works. But even like one of the videos they were showing, it was on like the Gulf side coast of Florida right before the hurricane hit, and they were showing clouds, and like I've never seen clouds like these. You can't tell me those weren't man-made. That video was from 4 years ago, and immediately people found the original video and said, "Yeah, this is from 2019 or 2020, whenever it was." But it doesn't matter. People are just spewing
I've
like
never seen clouds like these.
dude,
Are you
the
a
miss
meteorologist?
what
Who are you?
even meteorologists were getting on and saying like, no, those are blank clouds. I can't remember the name, but they were saying these are the name and this is when it happens and these are quite common. The other thing that I saw that was funny was when a hurricane's coming, birds migrate out of that area. They sense that it's coming and they can get
Yeah.
picked up on radar. So there were these lines that looked like I don't, they almost looked like a Wi-Fi signal that were like moving away from the hurricane, and people were seeing that on radar and being like, "Look, you can tell right here, this is government controlled." And meteorologists like, "No, that's groups of birds migrating out." But I, for a while, I was like, they're not seeing the fact checks, but like, no, I think they're seeing the fact checks and they're choosing not to believe the fact checks. But that's
Well,
just me.
the funny thing is, the right-wing media like kind of toyed with the idea of like maybe it is true that they're creating these hurricanes. Like they played with it just a little bit, just enough
Yeah.
to make it, their viewers think like maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene is right.
No, it's rough. I'm glad to see though that Marge is going back to her old ways. I was almost saying like, oh wow, look, Marge is a normal like Republican now, and no, she's definitely not. Um, the thing that hurts, it bothers me, is like Trump doing, and Laura Loomer was posting like, do not cooperate with FEMA. Like whatever you do, don't give them your information. There, she said that if you take the $750, they can seize your land or something along those
What?
lines. And like right wing is echoing all this. Don't cooperate with FEMA. FEMA's a bad guy. That's going to get people hurt. Like people are going to
Yeah.
suffer. And they're totally willing to do it to try to get Trump to win. They're willing to let Americans get hurt and suffer. And to me, that's another thing that I'm like, this is just disqualifying. But I hate to tell you, I'm going to real quick jump aside. I've told you for a while now that like this is a toss up. This is a close race and Trump could almost definitely win. And the polls have tightened real quick. Harris is only up 2.8 points nationally, which with the Electoral College, a Democrat needs to be up like 4 or 5 points to have a real good chance.
Oh shit.
Arizona, Trump's up by a point, which that I hate being like I don't trust the polls, but Carrie Lake is running for Senate there and she's getting crushed by like 12 points. So
Okay.
that's the one where I kind of don't. I think Arizona is more in play than the poll shows, but Trump's up at 1.2 there. Georgia's a straight tie. Michigan, she's up 0.1. So that's a tie.
She's up.
She's up 0.1, not a
Oh,
full
the
point.
right is totally saying that Trump is landsliding Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, and South Carolina.
Okay, so I'm doing the poll of polls, okay? And this is averaging out all the most recent
Okay.
polls. Arizona, he's up by a point, tied in Georgia. Harris up by 0.1 in Michigan, which is a tie.
Okay.
Nevada, Trump's up 0.6, which is a tie. North Carolina, Trump is up 1.2. That's still margin of error. Pennsylvania, Trump up 0.5, tie. Wisconsin, Harris up 0.3, tie.
Oh,
And those are the swings. So of all the swing states, none of them are outside of the margin of error. The biggest lead is Trump in Arizona and Trump in North Carolina. All the rest of them are under a half a point. So
huh.
yeah. So it's going to come down to who shows up to vote. Like really, and the thing is, they're saying I don't know if I trust anything I hear, but they're saying that like Trump's turn to the leaning, he's gone real negative recently. He's doing the whole
Oh
I'm
yeah.
going to deport everybody, and they're saying that that's turning off the kind of the independence, which he's going to need to win. But I don't know. Like that's when he got crazy before 2016. It was saying a bunch of crazy shit. We all thought that he was sinking his own ship, but it ended up he wasn't. So as much as I would like to think that the independents, the more moderate Republicans are seeing this and they're not down with it, I don't know that to be true. Like I think they might be down with it.
We need to get everybody to watch the rallies because this is like
That was
I feel like
Kamala's.
this is a disqualifying characteristic of Trump.
That was her best point in the debate was watch his rallies. Like I invite you.
Yeah.
Like the more like they've said it for a while, but Trump getting kicked off of like Twitter and stuff like that actually helped him because
Oh
the
yeah.
more that he's not in the public light, the better for him. The more we see of him, the more he turns people off. So
But he loves being in that public
oh, he
light.
does.
So here's the internal poll that the Trump campaign put out. It's by Tony Fabrizio and John McLaughlin.
Okay.
Trump is up by 5 points in Georgia,
Wow.
3 in Arizona and Nevada, and 1 point in Michigan and North Carolina and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin.
So he's up in every swing state.
He's up in every swing state.
You know what? I'm going to give them credit because at least they made it like close still. I've been telling you for a while. Trump's biggest mistake is he's his ego. He wants to say that he's killing her in all these states,
Yeah.
and by doing that, he depresses his vote. Elon's at least smart. Elon, when he spoke in Pennsylvania, Elon was saying like, get everyone you know, text your friends, have your friend text there. Everybody needs to show up to vote because Elon knows this is going to come down to turnout.
Yeah.
Trump's not that smart. Trump's like, we're winning by so much. We're way ahead in the polls. And like, no, don't say that. Like, if anything, I'll say this: if you want Harris to win, I like how the polls have tightened up because for a short while there, I think Democrats started to feel like, oh, we got this, we're going to beat him. And like, no, but we need to keep everybody fucking butt clenched. Got to go vote.
I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure that. Like, I feel like the Obama campaign really was like, get out the vote, get out the vote, get out the vote, and the Harris campaign's really not doing much of that.
So they're doing it all, but they're doing it as a ground game. They're canvassing neighborhoods, they're knocking doors. Like they have
But they need to be on fucking YouTube doing it because like
they see, and that's the thing is Trump in 2016, Trump wasn't doing the canvassing of neighborhoods and he was putting all his money into like Facebook ads.
Yeah.
And people thought that was a dumb strategy and it ended up working for him.
Yeah.
And he's kind of doing the same this time where he's not doing the traditional media. He's going to podcasts. He was on Flagrant the other day. Like and again, I think everybody, Democrats who think they're smarter than everybody else, look at this and like, oh, what is he doing? This isn't how you win.
Yeah.
he's not an idiot, or the people behind him are not idiots. So his whole play, and he's put all his chips into one basket, and that is men age like 25 to 34 roughly.
Yep.
And the white men that age do not show up to vote normally. And he's put
Yep.
all his chips into getting them to show up to vote. And we'll see. There's
It's
definitely
a good strategy, and I think Kamala's going after the women vote big time.
100%. And she has help with like the Swifties and all that. But
Yeah.
like Trump needs enough males of the younger white male young voters to show up to counter all the young Swifty type voters. And I don't know, it's still going to be close. Like we got a month left, and it looks like Trump is going scorched earth. Like he's like the one ad that I keep seeing over and over and over is about like transgenders and transgender
Oh,
surgeries. I see that
really?
ad all the, and I'm in Oklahoma, which I shouldn't be seeing like swing state ads. I
Yeah.
see that ad constantly, and when I see it, it
Oh,
makes me not want to vote for Trump. I'm like, oh, like why is he going there? But
yeah.
I think there's a lot of people that see that and they're like, oh, these damn Democrats trying to turn all our
Yeah.
kids into, I think it's effective. It's not effective on me, but it's effective on the people he needs it to be effective
It's
on.
fear media, and
Yeah.
that's what the right is actually all. It's all fear based. It's
Mhm.
all the Democrats are going to turn this country into Venezuela or
Yep.
whatever. Like it's very interesting how different the campaigns are and how there's not a lot of substance. And
Wait,
Kamala's not great at interviews. Like I watched the three interviews that she did. Well, I didn't watch all of them. I watched parts of all of them. I watched the View one, I think all of it. But
mhm.
like she's not that great at interviewing.
Her two biggest things that she has, I thought for sure they would have worked with her on by now, and they haven't. But like, if they ask her like, "What are you going to do for middle class voters?" She'll give like a 3 minute bio of herself before she answers the question.
Yeah.
And I know that they told her to do that at some point. They were saying, "Hey, based off the polling, America doesn't know you. We need to introduce you to America." But
Yeah.
we're past that now. Like, tell
Yeah.
us the answer. Get past the 3 minute little
Yeah.
about yourself. I grew up in a middle class family. Blah blah blah. Nobody cares. The other thing, they've asked her a couple different times, what would you have done differently than Joe Biden?
Yeah.
And that seems
Doesn't
like
have
an
an answer.
easy layup where she should have a couple things prepared. And she's
No.
afraid she doesn't want to hurt Joe Biden's feelings. And I'm sorry, he needs to suck it up at this point. And she needs to have a couple things ready. But on The View, they asked her, what would you have done different? And she says, I can't really think of anything. Oh, that's a missed opportunity and a half right there, man. Like, talk about the
Yeah.
border a little bit, like
Yeah.
anything. So.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, real
And
quick about the border to jump us back, Trump was in Aurora today. Did you
yeah.
hear anything about this?
I just heard he was going to be here. He wasn't really in Aurora.
He
Like
went to a hotel that was technically in Aurora and was
he
like in
went
a
to like the
banquet room.
Gaylord. He went to the Gaylord, which
Yeah,
is like it's like an airport hotel
yeah.
in
So,
technically in Aurora, but like on the nice side of Aurora.
so I gotta say, the Republican mayor of Aurora came out right after he left and released a written statement, basically debunking everything Trump said about
Oh,
how
awesome.
bad Aurora is. So,
Okay.
props to that Republican governor.
Well,
He,
he was talking about our governor so bad.
yeah,
He was talking about how Polis was sucking up to him, and then like after they met, he talked shit about him. I don't know, but
probably.
he does not like Polis at all.
Yeah. Let's see here. Okay, we got a little bit of time left here. I wanted to get into one. Do you have any more topics before I get into the one I really wanted to talk to you about?
Let's see. No, I don't think so.
Okay. I kind of mentioned this to you when we talked the other night. Did you get to see Jordan Klepper on the Daily Show last night with his whole alpha versus beta thing?
Yeah, I did. So
Okay,
that's been my one thing that I'll go to. That's like somewhat
the
news
Daily
is
Show.
Daily Show. It's like I have to because
Yeah.
it's so doom and gloom listening to the right all day.
Mhm.
Like I needed something that'll like pick me up a
Yeah.
little bit.
So this I'm trying to formulate a good thought on this, and I thought maybe we could kind of workshop this together. But like Jordan Klepper did a great little supercut of all the people on Fox News and Newsmax and all that, basically saying like, how could any man vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz? Like,
Yeah.
if you're a man voting for them, you have mommy issues or you're a beta. The word beta and alpha has been thrown around a whole lot recently, and it's kind of hysterical to me. And
Okay.
my thought process here, I've got a lot. I kind of don't know which way to go on this, but like, the first thing I'd like to say is like, the whole thing where everybody thinks Trump is the ultimate alpha is kind of hysterical to me. Like, I just don't see it. The man does an hour and a half of hair and makeup every morning before he'll let a camera on him. He's very concerned with his appearance. He
Yeah.
just, he doesn't scream alpha to me at all. Like, I'm not saying he's a
No.
beta cuck or anything. He doesn't scream alpha, but like if you're a Trump voter, like Trump is the ultimate alpha. Like, you know, all those pictures, like the art, like the digital trading cards of him where he's like Rambo, like
Oh yeah,
super
yeah.
ripped,
This yeah.
and I'm just like, that's not the guy. Like, he's got
The guy
titties.
doesn't he doesn't work out because he thinks you only have so many heartbeats in your
Yeah.
lifetime.
That's real quick, and we can talk about this more next time. But the whole RFK and the MAHA, Make America Healthy Again, is their
Oh yeah.
slogan.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I agree with a lot of this. Like, let's make foods better for people. But we're
I
talking about
do.
Trump that eats McDonald's and Kentucky Fried Chicken and Diet Coke all day long, and for some reason we think he's going to be the president to like usher in this new healthy generation. I have trouble seeing that. But the alpha versus beta thing is wild to me, and it's kind of, if you're a guy and you say you're voting for Harris, like somebody will call you a beta or gay or something along those lines right off the bat. Like you're not a real man. And
Well,
I
the
don't
thing
get that.
is if you're like so into Trump that you're doing that,
Mm,
you're beta to Trump. You're a
I
Trump beta.
agree. Yeah, I
Like
see
there's
that.
only so many alphas, right? Like you go back to like caveman days. There's one alpha. The leader of your
Mm.
community is the alpha.
By definition, there can only be one alpha per group, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So every Trump supporter is a beta.
Well, I guess so. I hadn't thought of that yet. That's an interesting way. And that's like there's this whole like on the right, like I was talking to a buddy about this because on YouTube there's several like they're either like former Secret Service or former Navy SEALs that have YouTube channels that are very pro-Trump. Like the guy that shot Bin Laden, I can't think of his name, Dan Bongino, who's former Secret Service, but they're like the alpha of alpha. They wear the shirts that have like MAGA on it, bulging
Yeah.
muscles, like they present as totally alpha. And also, I was trying to explain this, but like we need
Present.
alpha. What's that?
Present.
Yes, they present as alphas,
Yeah.
but like we need alphas. Like I'm glad that our Secret Service, our Navy SEALs, like those need to be meathead alphas that like are good at killing people.
Sure.
Like that's great. On
Well,
the other
that's
hand,
not even like the characteristic. I went down a rabbit hole a while back about this, and there's more than just alpha beta. There's like sigma, gamma,
oh God,
you name it. There's a bunch of them.
yeah,
Alpha beta is kind of just like the hierarchy of men in social situations. You can just easily make people put them in that.
gotcha.
It's one of those two categories, right?
Well,
I forget where I was going with that, but yeah, like if you're in a group like a Navy SEAL, you could still be a beta and like be a badass.
true, but I
But
think most Navy SEAls probably can be very alpha. They can turn it on. They can be alpha when they need to.
yeah,
That's great. I think we need alphas to do certain roles in our society. Now, I don't think like I just because somebody's a former Navy SEAL doesn't mean that I should care what their political views are. And that's kind of
yeah,
what kills me is there's a lot of
yeah,
these guys running around that like have their podcasts and a lot of people, yeah, I listen to him because he's a Navy SEAL. And it's
yeah.
like, should we care what he thinks about immigration or the economy or anything like that? No, they're a former Navy SEAL, and thank you for your service. You did a great service to this country.
Yeah.
Your political views shouldn't turn on anybody. But if you look like that's a lot of the influencers on the right is like there's no influencer on the right that is anything but alpha or that doesn't present as alpha. They might not really be alphas, but that's the image they're putting on.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
kind of odd. And it's like it's old caveman chimp type stuff where like the chimp that talks the loudest and whatnot, like we're gonna listen to. And I think that's where a lot
Yeah.
of people still
Well,
are.
there's a lot of narcissistic tendencies in alphas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, we could give Trump the alpha dog title. He's the alpha dog. Everybody that's voting for him is his beta.
I guess I look at him and I don't see alpha at all, but that's just me. It's hard for me to look at him and be like, oh, that dude's a fucking alpha. Like, no, I don't see it. But
His
we all see him
little hair
differently.
cloth and
Yeah,
makeup, spray tan.
the dude with the comb over whose face is orange, but he leaves it to where you can see like where his hairline is, where what his real skin color is, like translucent white. Like,
It's bad.
yeah, if he's wearing makeup, and let's not forget he wears lifts in his shoes, so
Oh,
he's wearing makeup and heels, and he has a comb over and dyed hair, and
oh,
this is the alpha.
okay. Well, you got to think about it. In the bird community, like in birds, like
He
the male birds are always the prettiest ones.
there's a name for that where like he's peacocking.
Oh yeah, peacocking.
Yeah, he's
Yep. Yeah,
peacocking.
he's
Yeah,
peacocking.
he's getting the ladies. Real quick, there was a time where he was on stage in the last week where he was like, I could be on a beach right now, like relaxing. And then he moved into like, I have a much better body than Biden. And like that, he like did a
Oh
little riff on how much better.
yeah.
And it's like, none of us want to see either of you guys in your bathing
No.
suits, like at all. But like,
He, I've watched 3 of his rallies and he's brought up Biden in a bathing suit, like, and every
did he?
single one of them.
Yeah. It's like that's an image. I don't want to see Biden in his bathing suit, and I don't want to see Trump. Neither of them have a decent body in a bathing suit. Okay. I
No.
I would venture to say that Trump's would be funnier in a bathing suit. I don't want to say he'd look worse, but it'd be funnier. Can you picture him in a bathing suit?
Trump?
Yeah.
Oh, it would be horrible.
Have you seen when they show
How
him at
far
his
do you think his gut would go over
have you
his
seen
shorts?
when they show him at his golf club and he's just wearing like khakis and like a tucked in white polo and like
Oh
the,
yeah.
the suit he wears, he's smart. Somebody was pointing this out on Twitter, but like he wears shoulder pads like women used to do back in the day, but it's to
Yep.
his body's shaped in a non-flattering way, so he uses his suits to kind of even himself out and square himself up. So yeah, him out of the suit always looks a little interesting, where it's like, oh wow, like he's not the big broad-shouldered guy you see in the suit at all.
All right, who do you think has a bigger dick, Trump or Biden?
Uh, I don't want to think about other dicks. According to Stormy Daniels, Trump's is a little
I know. I
toadstool.
was gonna go with Biden.
Yeah, I'd like to not picture either of their dicks if I could get away with it. So I'm gonna act like you never asked that. Um, now I can't. All I can do is think of Trump's dick. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Sorry, man.
Yeah. No, let me see real quick. Oh, and then okay, so Alpha Beta. I think we kind of covered that. The only other thing that I thought was funny that we hadn't got to talk about yet, the Jack Smith DC case for election interference. He got to basically release all of his evidence against Trump. And it was hysterical because against any other politician ever, it would have sank them. And with Trump, we all read it and we were like, yeah, that's kind of what we knew already happened. And it wasn't that big a deal.
I have not seen this. I've not heard of this. Not seen it.
Oh, I got to send you this. The funniest thing, Sidney Powell, she was one of the lawyers that was claiming she was claiming all the craziest shit, like satellites from Italy were hijacking the election, and Hugo Chavez, who was dead by that point, was a key player in it. She was the nuttiest of her, and Rudy Giuliani were like the two that were spearheading this.
Yeah.
And when she would call him at the Oval Office and be running all these series by him, Trump was muting her and telling everyone else in the room how crazy she was. And basically, he was like, is anybody going to believe this shit? Like, she's nuts, right? And then, like, after the call, he'd be like, all right, she's crazy, but let's just try it anyway. And that was the shit that they were coming out and claiming, all the different Dominion voting systems and this and that. So we know for sure
So
that
he would mute it and then he would like get back on and be like, yeah, that's good. Let's throw
exactly, yeah. But he would mute it and be like talking shit about her, like she's nuts, like none of this is believable. But they went ahead and did it. So basically,
Whose
the only
testimony is this from?
this is people that were in the room with him, the White House lawyers, the White House advisors, like all of the people that wouldn't testify in front of the January 6th committee had to go in front of a grand jury, where if you get caught lying, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
They all started talking. So the key thing, all of the evidence he had was from Republicans that worked in Trump's administration. There was no Democrats at all giving this evidence. It was all Republicans. But that was kind of the key thing. It was basically, we now know that Trump did not believe any of the election shit he was saying about it being stolen, but he went ahead and said it anyway because he was trying to stay in power. And that,
yeah,
again, that's
we already knew that. Yeah,
but it's just it's more confirmed now.
Okay.
That was about it. The one thing when he was watching Fox News and one of the aides came in to say, hey, the vice president's in trouble. They've erected a gallows. They're talking about hanging him. The Secret Service just had to take him down to the garage. And Trump said, so what? Yeah, that was his answer. So what? And the aide and walked out of the room because he didn't know what to do at that point. So
did anything come out? Because remember he was like fighting the driver at one point.
Yeah, saying that he wanted to go to the Capitol with them. The other thing was one of his aides, when they said, hey, people are about to start rioting here, he, quote, said, make them riot and do it. And that was one of his aides. That wasn't Trump, but that was one of his aides.
Riot. Oh, shit.
Yeah. Okay.
So does that aide get in trouble or what?
I don't think so. And I mean, the aide came in and testified honestly, so I don't know. Trying to think here. The other one.
Who was this aide? Like, do we know the name?
So they went through, because in the thing they're all like person 1, person 2, person all the way through like person 80, and they've gone through and figured out who's who, or they're pretty sure they have.
Okay.
I saw who that person was, but I didn't know the name.
Well, I'm
But
wondering if he's in the campaign still. I would imagine if he's that much of a Trump
he very well might
fan,
be.
he'd be in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll go through and look at the list. There were over 80 witnesses to testify. All of them were Republicans that worked in his administration. So yeah, that's the gist. It was all like we already kind of knew what was happening. It was just nice to have people that were around him like confirm it to a grand jury. And like I said, the biggest takeaway was that even he knew all these bullshit things about Venezuela stealing the election and Italy and all the craziest ones. He did not believe them. But basically, Sidney Powell would tell it to him. He'd say, "That's crazy. No American's going to buy that, right?" And then after talking to his people, he'd go, "Okay, let's try it anyway." And
Oh,
then they'd come
gosh.
out and say it all. So anyhow, he
Huh.
didn't. Yeah, he didn't buy it. Trying to see here. That's about all I got, man. Tim Walls, I gotta say, I'm glad they're finally getting him back out on like interviews and stuff. The reason she picked Tim Walls is because of how good he was at going on cable news, and
Yeah.
he was great at that.
But has he been on cable news lately?
So like this week, and I fear that the Democrats waited too long to try this blitz because people are already voting now. Like voting is happening in certain
Yeah.
states, but so now they're letting Tim Walz has given a couple interviews this week. He was on with Michael Strahan, I think today.
Okay.
Kamala's got several, or she's already done a couple. She's got a couple more. Barack Obama is out.
Oh, I
Yeah,
saw
Obama's
Brock.
out.
Yeah, that was
So,
good.
but again, it's like,
Hold on. I think Kamala really should go because, like these friendly interviews that she's been doing with like the Who's Your Daddy podcast and the, View and all that. They're just super. And Howard Stern was pretty good. That's the one I
yeah.
listened to the full.
I
Uh,
thought the Call Her Daddy one I thought was a smart thing to do. It didn't take much time. It was an hour, and that reaches a block that she's trying to get out there. So that was a targeted shot, and I have no problem with that.
I kind of want her to do Fox News because I think it'll be more of a serious interview, but she has to be ready for it. She has to be ready with solid answers. But like
I
these friendly things, she's not that like interesting of a person. She's not good at small talk.
yeah.
But if she gets down to brass tacks and if she could do what she did to Trump to one of these Kennedy or whoever, like she could actually come out looking really good on that.
The thing is, they anything she's going to do, they're weighing the risk versus the value. Okay, like how much and the way that they look at it, and I think they might be right on this. Okay, maybe hindsight's 2020. Maybe we'll look back and say she should have gone on Fox. But like, is there anybody watching Fox that she's going to talk? She's going to go on there. She's going to say her piece. And is there anybody that's going to come away from it going, you know what? I might vote for Kamala now. And their thought
Maybe.
is no. Their thought is,
Maybe.
I
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
but I'm just telling you, their thought is there's so little to gain, so potential people that might swap to her side, but there's so much to lose when you have a hostile interview. So if she were to do it, she would do it with like Brett Baer or Neil Cavuto or somebody like that. She wouldn't do it with Hannity. That I wouldn't let her do that. That'd be ridiculous. The thing that kills me, everybody's giving her a hard time for all these friendly interviews she's doing, and she's doing like CBS and it like The View is friendly and Call Her Daddy was friendly, but she's doing some other ones that are not. She's doing a CNN town hall, I think, next week. That they always hold her feet to the fire because they don't want to be accused of being friendly to her.
Yeah.
So she's doing some that are harder.
Well, Walsh should do a town hall. He's the one who should be doing a town
He
hall.
should. But real quick, there's been this double standard the whole time where they're like, Kamala's not giving enough specific policy. And it's like, the hell is Trump saying specific? But again, the whole friendly interview thing, when was the last time Trump did an unfriendly interview?
Never.
Besides, take the debate out. The debate wasn't an interview,
Yeah.
but take the debate out. When was the last time he went on with anybody that wasn't friendly? It wasn't a safe interview.
You know who actually gave pushback, and I'm like actually impressed with was the most recent one that he did. Who's the comedian? What's his name?
With Andrew Schultz on
Andrew
Flagrant.
Schultz. Yeah, he gave him a little pushback on the America's going to shit, and he was like,
Dude,
hold on. I think America's like really good." And I was like, wow, that was great.
He gave him pushback there, but what was funnier was I don't think Trump realized what was happening, but there were several times like when at one point he was like, he goes, I'm a relatively honest person. I don't tell lies. And they all just started laughing. Like they couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah.
And like it was those moments that I loved as he'd say something that was totally incorrect and they would all just laugh at him.
Yeah.
And that's one of those where I think if you're a Trump voter, you probably didn't even pick up on that. Like, and you didn't see that way. But if you're someone like me that like,
They were
I thought
laughing the whole
when he
time.
said when he said, "I'm a pretty honest person, I don't lie," and they all just busted out laughing, like to me, that's the most insulting thing they could have done to him is they laughed in his face.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't know that people pick up on that. So
No. No. Yeah. No. That was probably the hardest interview he's done so far.
And I think he thought the only reason he went is because he thought that was going to be a safe one. I
Yeah.
think Mark Cuban went on that show like I guess 2 weeks ago, and I think that Mark Cuban made a dent because he was explaining here's why tariffs across the board tariffs are a terrible idea. Here's why, and he kind of educated them on all that so that when Trump went on, they had already heard the other side and they were ready to push back with some questions. So
Well,
props to
they
Cuban.
kept bringing up, they tried to bring up the tariffs a few times, and he kind
And
of dodged that question a bunch.
because he knows that if anybody knows about tariffs and like I guarantee you he prepped and they told him, hey, Mark Cuban was just on here explaining tariffs to these people and why it's a bad idea, so he probably didn't want to get into that at all. So
Well, there's rumors in my right-wing circle that he might go on Rogan now. Rogan might have him on.
I think that's highly possible. Now Rogan has said several times that he has no interest in doing that, he doesn't want to help him, but I clearly I think Rogan has shifted since he said that, and I think clearly he would like to help him. The thing is, that's the same group of dudes that are listening to Theo Vaughn and
Yeah.
Flagrant and all that.
Yeah.
So I don't know what like that's a zero risk for him, but like is there much reward there? Like I don't know how much reward there is. Like in my opinion, right now they should both be trying to target where they think they can make the biggest impact, where they could possibly swing the most amount of
Reach new
voters.
people. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she's doing that a bit. She's not doing it as much as I would hope, but she's doing it a bit. I don't think Trump's doing it hardly at all. Like he's reaching
Who
out.
does she need? Who does she need to get on her side?
Right now, the biggest hole she has is black men, and that
Okay.
is what Obama is straight up targeting them. And
Oh, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
he's flat out saying if you're a black man and you're looking for reasons not to vote for Kamala, like that's shameful or whatever
I'd
he's
like to see
saying.
Michelle get out there too.
I think we're going to see her eventually.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Michelle would help with women, and we're kind of good there.
She's not going to help with black men at all.
No, I think Barack is the guy that you call in for black men, and who
Okay.
knows if he can even do it. I don't know.
Hmm.
But she needs black men and she needs Hispanics back because Trump is only getting like 25% of Hispanics, but that's more than a Republican normally gets.
Yeah.
So she needs to get them back and she needs to get black men back. And I think Barack is your best Hail Mary attempt to do that. I'm not saying he's going to be able to do it. I'm just saying
Yeah.
I don't know who else could do it better.
Hmm.
And then the Hispanics, I really like. I don't know what they're going to do there. Like I haven't seen like she did the Univision one in Nevada the other night was 100% targeted at the Hispanics. I don't know I don't know how many of them are watching Univision town halls. Like,
When was the last time we had a president that actually spoke Spanish?
because
What,
it's
have
been
we
a while.
ever? What?
Because well, Jeb Bush, like so there was a period of time where George Bush's brother Jeb, they
Yeah.
thought he was obviously the next president. It's because he was a staunch Republican. He was a Bush, and he's married to a Hispanic lady, and his sons speak Spanish and English. And like he was going to bridge the gap because forever Republicans have seen Hispanic voters and said, if only we could get Hispanics, we would never lose an election. And then that was 2016 when it was supposed to be Jeb's turn, and Trump came storming in. So we never got
Well,
to see that.
I mean, think
But
about if you have a president that speaks Spanish and can actually get on like the Spanish radio stations and like hit
yeah,
Telemundo and all that stuff and actually speak Spanish. And I mean, that's your ticket to getting that back, right?
we haven't had because I mean, let's real quickly go back through it. Biden Harris, no.
Nope.
Trump Pence, no. Obama Biden, no.
No.
Bush Cheney, no. Clinton Gore, no. George H.W. Bush and Dan Quayle, no.
Mm-mm.
Reagan and H.W. Bush, no.
No.
Carter was before that. Now we're into the 70s. So no, not since if it's happened at all, it hasn't happened in the past 50 years.
Let's see what the internet says here.
Yeah, the last time a president or vice president could speak Spanish. If there was one that could, we'd be hearing them say it all the time. They would constantly be speaking Spanish.
Jimmy Carter. Carter studied Spanish at the Naval Academy and continued to practice it throughout his life. He
Okay.
spoke Spanish to consultants during his 1976 campaign address, the Mexican Congress in Spanish, and gave other addresses in Spanish while president. Boom. Oh wait.
So 1976 to 1980 was Jimmy Carter. So since 1980, we haven't had one.
George W. Bush had a basic understanding of Spanish.
Oh yeah, give me a
No,
Cerveza, por
he
favor.
delivered a weekly radio address in both English and Spanish.
George W. did?
George W.
I don't remember that at all.
And
I'd love to
then
hear him speak Spanish because he'd do it with like the Texas twang. Like it'd be a funny Spanish.
yeah,
Yeah. It
Texican.
wouldn't be fluent.
It's Texican.
Me amigos. Let me tell you something,
Me
amigos.
amigos.
Yeah.
We should try and find some of those old
I
speeches.
would love to find that. Yeah. W.
Martin Van Buren, his first language was Dutch.
Okay.
Roosevelt learned French and German at a young age. Franklin, wow, was fluent in 6 languages. You would think that a president would actually, it would be beneficial to know multiple languages. At
The
least,
pro the problem is, so, and we talked earlier about Trump having speaking at a fourth grade level, and how that benefits him. Like, if you have someone like I've said forever, I like Pete Buttigieg a lot. He's a Rhodes Scholar. He speaks like 6 or 8 different languages.
okay.
He's a very educated man. The problem, besides the fact that he's gay, which I don't think that's a problem, but a lot of Americans do.
Yeah.
But other than that, he's too educated. Like, and that shouldn't be disqualifying. But like, it almost makes him seem like a sissy boy beta because he's so educated and he's fluent in languages and he's a Rhodes Scholar. Like
Yeah.
that should be a positive for him, and I feel like it would work. It'd be a disadvantage for him. It's sad that that's where we're at, but I think that's where we're at. Remember the movie Idiocracy?
Oh, yeah.
When he was talking and because he sounded so smart, they were like calling him FAG. I don't want to say the word.
The name
But
of our podcast is based on Idiocracy.
exactly. Yeah. I'm going to say this word and I hope I don't get canceled, but that was the whole thing was like, he talks like a fag. That was their whole thing. And it was
Yeah.
like, because he sounded smart and intelligent. And I feel like we're kind of really sliding down that slope where it's like, we don't trust people that sound smart. Yeah.
We are. And I think it started with Trump.
Yeah. It's hurting Trump to a degree because in all the focus groups after the VP debate, all the focus groups, they said, even though I thought Vance clearly won that debate, he seemed more polished and all that. The fact that he was more polished, basically the line that people kept repeating was like, nah, he seemed too much like a politician. He seemed slimy.
Okay.
Like, and so the fact that he came off so well prepared and polished hurt JD Vance.
Well, he is slimy, but
It is, but and that was the general theme of all the focus groups was basically I'm not buying his bullshit. Like I know he's blah blah blah.
yeah.
And then Walls,
comes back to the you want to have a beer. Who do you want to have a beer with?
yep. And Walls came across as nervous and he didn't seem like a politician.
Yeah.
And somehow that made people like him more. I didn't see that coming at all, but every focus group I've listened to since then, everybody identified more with Walls and liked him better because he didn't do that good a job. I don't understand that. Like, I'm not saying
Yeah.
it's a weird thing where we punish the person that's better at debating and more intelligent. So
Yeah. Huh.
bad
Interesting.
sign. We're 2 steps away from President Macho Camacho. Like that's where we're heading at this point. So
Oh, we're gonna be feeding our cops with Gatorade.
dude, when Hulk Hogan ripped off his shirt at the RNC this
God.
year,
Yeah.
I was like, President Macho Camacho's coming. Like I can feel it. So get ready. Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyhow, we only got 3 weeks to go, and we have basically a toss-up in every swing state. So here's what I'm going to try to explain this right. Trump is already at his ceiling. Trump's ceiling is like 46, 47%. Okay.
Yeah.
Like he's not getting past that. Okay?
He just has to get him out to do it.
Kamala has a ceiling of like 51%. Okay. But she has a lower floor.
Yeah.
Okay. She could get as high as 51, but she could get as low as like 44. Trump's ceiling is 47 and his floor is like 46.
Oh, geez.
So like Trump's going to get somewhere around 46, 47. Like it's locked in at this point. So his only hope, if he wants to win this, is to depress the vote. He has to depress her voters. He has to talk enough shit and point out as much bad things as her as he can to try to make her people say, nah, I'm not going to vote. Okay. Or
but nobody's watched, like the people who, I don't think people are actually, I don't know if people like moderates are not watching Fox News, Newsmax.
Well, I don't think they're watching much. I think they're seeing clips on social media.
Okay. Maybe.
So,
and who, I mean, how many people are watching social media? I guess Facebook's a big one.
mm-hmm.
I don't really do Facebook too much, but
I'll tell you this. I don't see in 16 and 20, I would see like a lot of like where it would look like it was coming from a news site, but it was really like some blog where they just called it like Channel 2 News, but it really wasn't news. And you would see stuff like that that was kind of misinformation. I don't see that at all on Facebook anymore. The only political stuff I see is people I went to high school with that are posting their political posts, but I don't see like stuff that I don't follow already posting stuff.
Yeah, I
So I,
remember in 2020, there was so much Facebook stuff.
mhm,
Like everything
yeah.
was like Trump this and Biden that. And I mean, it was mostly negative stuff, but
Yeah.
it was out there.
Now, did you see where today apparently the Washington Post or one of those places they have evidence that Trump and Elon, which I feel like this was known already, but basically that Trump and Elon were colluding to have Twitter basically squash negative things about Trump and boost negative things about Harris, and like they're I guess they actually have like evidence of communication between the Trump campaign and Elon as far as who to boost and who to squash, which is straight up everything Republicans have been complaining about for the past 8 years.
Yeah.
But at this point, I don't really care. I'm not really. It's like okay, they're doing that, and I don't think there's anything they're going to do to stop them. So
Huh.
yeah, get over it.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
Uh, yeah, I mean, so is that election interference? That's like straight up election interference?
It is, but if you were to say that, they'd say, well, so that's what Mark Zuckerberg's been doing for the Democrats, which Mark Zuckerberg's a Republican. But either way, but if you tried to call them out and be like, oh, look what Elon's doing, this is election interference, and that'd be their answer. It'd be like, well, it's about time we fought back. The Democrats have been doing this for 8 years. That'd be the response.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. So that's where we're at. This is a turnout election now. How good is and the Democrats have a better ground game by far in these swing states as far as getting out knocking doors. They think that's more valuable. Trump
Okay.
has no ground game. Now Elon is at the last minute trying to put together ground games in all these states, and he's using money to do it. I don't know if you saw, this is the other thing people are saying is straight up election interference, but he's offering $47. If you live in a swing state and you register to vote and say you're going to vote for Trump, he'll pay you $47, and he'll also pay you $47 for every other person you get to register to vote for Trump. So he's
Oh,
paying people to vote
I
for
heard
Trump.
that. Yeah,
That seems like that's illegal, but I
that
guess
should be
it's not.
illegal.
I guess
It's
it's not.
not?
I get nobody's arresting him, so
That's true. Hmm. Is
yeah.
he actually paying them?
I don't know if he has yet, but he's saying he's gonna.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I
so
mean, why does Elon want Trump so bad in office?
power.
Do you think he's going to get a position in the
No, I think
administration?
that he knows that he'll have if he helps because at this point, if Trump wins, I think Trump owes his victory to Elon to some degree because
Yeah.
Elon's the only person trying to get a ground game going in these states.
Okay.
So I think Trump he would turn a blind eye and let Elon get away with a lot more shit than Democrats would.
But Trump's also notorious for not paying out his debts.
And for basically stabbing people in the back, like he did with RFK in 2016 when he sold them out for $1 million. Pfizer donated $1 million to his inauguration, and then he
Oh,
dropped RFK like a bad habit. So,
oh,
and that's
interesting. I didn't
I
know about that.
I was trying to tell somebody about this the other day, but the whole make America healthy again, RFK, and this and that,
Yeah.
like okay, I think that's a great idea. But
Mhm.
like when Trump gets in office and now he's either going to put RFK in charge of the FDA or let RFK pick who should be in charge of the FDA,
Yeah.
or Big Pharma is going to come in or whoever else is going to come in and say, hey, let us give you $1 million towards your blah blah blah, what a campaign, charity, whatever.
Totally.
But let us help you pick this spot. Is
Yeah.
Trump going to stick with RFK or
No.
is he going to take the money? And I was trying to explain this to somebody, and they said, "Well, Trump's the one politician that can't be bought." And I'm like,
No. No.
"There's there
He's selling watches.
there's more evidence of Trump being bought than any other politician in the game right now." But
Yeah.
for some reason, that's another one of those where there's a lot of people that believe that Trump is unbuyable, and
That's absolutely not true.
yeah,
That's probably the least true statement I've heard in 2 weeks. And I've
good
been
luck.
watching all right-wing radio.
Good luck trying to convince anybody voting for Trump that because they firmly believe that's why they trust him is because he doesn't need the money. He can't be bought. He's doing this because he loves America. And it's like for someone who doesn't need the money, he's selling sneakers, watches, Bibles. Like, what are we doing here? Like,
Dude.
okay, digital trading card, his own form
Oh,
of
yeah.
crypto.
He got his own crypto. How's he
Yeah,
gonna get?
remember it's
Yeah.
we talked about that a couple weeks ago. Yeah, he's got his own crypto now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
What's it called? I forget.
uh,
Trump coin
it
or
No, it was called like World Patriot something. Like it was. It
Okay.
didn't say Trump anywhere in the name,
Okay.
but yeah. So for someone who can't be bought because he doesn't need money, he's acting awfully odd about it. But that's neither here nor there, I guess. So that's what I think. That should be my first question. If ever I want to discuss, like, okay, let's discuss like the Make America Healthy again, or let's discuss whatever it is. Like, my first question should be, do you think that Trump cannot be bought? And if they say, yeah, Trump definitely can't be bought, he's the only politician, and then we're done. Like,
Yeah.
I can't. I could waste 30 minutes trying to walk you towards, but at the end, you're going to have to believe that Trump can be bought. And if you don't, then I'm not going to waste my time getting us to this
Yeah.
point. Like, that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, he can absolutely be bought. He's
yeah.
he's been bought, he is bought, he is paid for, and he is doing the bidding of who
Yeah.
knows how many different people
If
across the world, not only
if
in our own country, but across the world.
if you just look at what foreign countries how what they bought, Egypt bought him for $10 million. Saudi Arabia bought him for what was it, $2 billion they
Is
gave to
that to Jared
Jared.
Kushner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many countries,
I
and
mean, who's he selling these watches to for $100,000 a piece?
that they say that could be an interesting form where he's money laundering, but it's technically not illegal because
Yeah.
anyhow. But yeah, that to me, like I want to put together a list for our next episode of all the times that Trump has been bought in the last 8 years.
Okay.
But even if I put it together, like no Republican voter is going to buy it. They're going to say, "Oh, that's bullshit."
And then
Fake
like he
news.
also like when he was in office, like people from other countries were actually staying in his hotel, but not even like paying for the hotel, but not even staying there. Like paying for it like a month
Yeah.
at a time or whatever.
Saudi Arabia was like getting three
Saudi.
whole floors worth of rooms and then only having like 2 or 3 people stay there, but like booking 3 floors just to line his pockets a little bit, and he was
Yeah.
all for that.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, he can't be bought. He doesn't need the money.
He doesn't need the money,
Every
man.
time somebody says he doesn't need the money, I'm like, why is he selling the watches and the sneakers and the Bibles if he doesn't need the money? Okay,
Yeah.
whatever. And that was I'm waiting, and this won't happen until after the election, but he started like a GoFundMe type thing for the hurricane victims. And
Oh,
in the fine print, it says that 7% of the money donated is going to go to the hurricane victims.
no.
So 93% of it can go wherever. And
No.
that's been brought up to his campaign, and they said, "Oh, well, legally we had to say that, but almost all of it's going to go to that." But we'll never know. And so far, there's no evidence of any of that money going anywhere. I think he's raised $36 million or something for
Holy
hurricane disaster
shit.
relief, and none of that has. There's no sign of a paper trail of that getting dispersed anywhere yet. And he might just sit on that, and that might be his money. And the key thing is, though, he doesn't have to do anything with it till after the election. Like, there's no timetable on it. So
Oh wow.
yeah, but even Republicans were coming out when he did that and saying, "Hey, if you want to give to people in need because of the hurricane, don't give it to Trump. Give it to the Red Cross." And they were naming all these organizations. But Republicans, MAGA people don't. They think those places are corrupt, so they gave it to Trump, who they think is not corrupt.
Wow.
I know.
Wow. He is the greatest grifter of all time.
He's an excellent con man. Like he's really good at it. Like you got to
Very
give
good.
him his props. Yeah.
I mean, amazing.
Mhm.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So
Ah,
he's been doing it. You got to think of though. He's been doing it since like the 80s. He had Trump
yeah.
Steaks, Trump Water, Trump Magazine. There's been Trump whatever. He's done this for a long time. So
Were you the one that told me that when he opened up his hotel, he opened up a second hotel right across the street from his first hotel?
I don't know about that
Or
one. No.
casino. Two casinos
That must have been
on the same strip because he wanted to see Trump.
that must have been in Atlantic City, but I don't know about that one. Yeah,
Well,
somebody
both
else
of
must
them
have
went
told me that.
bankrupt, so
All of his Atlantic City casinos went bankrupt, which apparently to bankrupt a casino is hard to do. Like,
yeah,
because casinos are basically cash cows,
the
and
house always wins.
he bankrupted, I believe, 3 casinos in his like
Oh,
time in the casino business. So
that's 3 of his 7
yeah,
bankruptcies.
yeah.
So 3 casinos, Trump Steaks, Trump Airline.
None of those were. I don't think any of those are counted in his bankruptcies, but I could be
Oh,
wrong
okay.
on that.
They
Yeah.
just went out of business. Okay.
Yeah, there's just his projects that didn't go anywhere. I forgot about Trump Airlines. That was another one that didn't go anywhere. So yeah, so good for him. He does the key thing though is he doesn't need our money. That's all you have to remember.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyhow, anything else you got?
No, I think I'm good, man.
All right, you going out in the woods
Oh.
this weekend?
No, I got a lot of stuff to do. I'm gonna try and get on my bike though. Yeah, I'm just got a lot. I gotta still write that main story.
Okay, yeah, get your story written. I look forward to seeing it when it's done.
Yeah. I'm gonna share this for our
Uh-oh.
viewers. Last
Oh, yeah. I'm glad you got a good look at that. That's in Colorado last night, the Aurora Borealis.
yeah, that was really cool.
That was a good shot right
I
there.
think next time this comes, I'm gonna go deep into the woods and find it because I mean that green, well, you can see the green. I think that's part of the aurora borealis, but the white on the right-hand side is like that's light pollution from the city. So
Yeah,
it would have
maybe
been
we
way
just need to
brighter.
plan it better and go camping somewhere where there's no light pollution.
Yeah.
Good photo, man.
But other than that, like and subscribe.
Yep, don't forget to like and subscribe. Pound that like button.
Pound that like button. I like it.
All
All
right,
right.
man. Great to talk to you, buddy. Have a good night.
You too. Later.
All right, bye.